Canada is on the brink of outperforming the US in this horrible stat, the rate of COVID cases. Yes, so about a year ago, or really the past year, Canada has been doing fairly well compared to the US. And now with the vaccination rate in the US skyrocketing compared to Canada, right now Canada is almost matching the state at where the US is in daily COVID cases. So let me show you that right here. This graph from Our World Data, using official data, daily new confirmed COVID-19 cases per million people, shown as the rolling 7-day average. So you see here, as I said, throughout the pandemic, Canada's been doing a lot better than the US. But now, look at that. We are just about, I can kind of zoom in here, just about to meet exactly where the US is. We here have been doing horrible, and I'll get to at least one of the main reasons in my mind in a second here. But first more on this. So on April 8th, Canada reported 185.2 cases per million population, while the US posted 199.56 per million population based on rolling 7-day averages. Worse yet, compared to the US, Canada has detected more than double the number of cases caused by the P1 variant, linked to a traveler from Brazil. P1 is more contagious, deadlier, and potentially limits vaccine effectiveness. As of Friday morning, Canada listed 1,039 P1 cases, while the US has 433. The variants right now is really what is driving a lot of this. These new variants are a lot more contagious, a lot more deadlier, or deadlier than before, than the first one. And today, Friday, the worst day in Ontario for COVID cases. Our number is somewhere over 4,000 today, 4,200. The next closest day was January 8th, but that was because of there is an error in the data collection. So they actually combined 400 cases from another day with that day. So this is clearly the worst day we've had so far during this pandemic, and we're over a year into this. Now, of course, there are many reasons for this. I have a video breaking down why Canada has performed so poorly during this pandemic. What I see as one of the main reasons is the fact that we don't have our own vaccine producer and distributor. And we used to. We used to have Connet Labs back in the 80s. And our conservative government back then sold it off. So now we no longer have our own producer and distributor, and we are forced to rely on other providers around the world. At the beginning of the pandemic, Trudeau bought enough vaccine, I believe, to vaccinate everybody like 4 times over. But only now are we really beginning to see those vaccines roll in. So right now, the issue isn't as much about the supply of vaccinations as it used to be, because that's getting better, but it's really about how it's being rolled out. So I can use Ontario, as I live here, as an example. We are still not prioritizing essential workers, people that work in grocery stores, taxi drivers, factory workers, people that have consistent and ongoing contact with a lot of people or the public. Those are the ones that are getting sick the most, the ones that are ending up in the ICU, the ones that are spreading COVID-19 around. I don't know why this far into it, with this sort of result, why we still aren't changing our approach to how we are vaccinating. We made one improvement in terms of now, apparently, if you are in a more high-risk area, if you're 18 plus, you're able to at least book your vaccine now in Ontario. But it needs to be not just high-risk areas, but also people that work on the front lines. And still, we're not doing that. So until there is mass vaccination out there, we're likely going to surpass the U.S. in this number, and it's really going to get worse until a majority of people here are vaccinated. Now, I also wanted to show you this, as it's gotten so bad that the CDC has issued a travel warning to Canada, or to Americans wanting to go to Canada. It's at the very high level, as you see there. And the border is supposed to be closed, at least to vehicles. So you're not supposed to be able to get in or out unless it is for an essential reason. But still, people have traveled all over the world here, as you saw, bringing that variant over from Brazil, and it has led to just complete insanity here. Now, last thing, I want to show you some polling. At the very least, this is the silver lining for me anyways, that people are recognizing how horrible their their political leaders are. So you see here, the question is your premier doing a good or bad job handling the COVID-19 pandemic? And Doug Ford, horrible, sitting at minus 33. Alberta also horrible. Jason Kenney, minus 52. Manitoba also bad, minus 22. Basically here, all the conservatives, almost all the conservatives, getting just spanked in polling. So people are aware that these leaders have failed them. But let's hope this sentiment continues, because oftentimes people will have short memories. You know, once we're all vaccinated, hopefully, once we're all vaccinated, and we get out of this really dark time right now, I'm afraid people are going to forget how bad it was when it was this bad. So you have to remember that this could have been a lot better had it been handled properly. It's not just Trudeau's fault. He's part of the problem. But the way it's being distributed, the way the vaccines have been rolled out, the way the shutdowns have been handled or not at all instituted has been a serious issue all across the country. And that is at the fault of these premiers. So it's important to recognize that essentially here, all your leaders have failed you, but to different degrees. But especially Ontario, we have done a horrible job, and Doug Ford is mostly to blame.